Welcome back to Two Guys in the Outdoors. Please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. All right, welcome back. We're back at it again, right?
We are.
All right.
We are.
So, what'd you do this week with in the outdoors?
Let's see. We've got a big event coming up for a lot of instructors for the state. So I've been doing some of that stuff. But outdoor wise, I've been up on my property and doing a little bit of exploring and scouting. And it's almost springtime, so been doing a little scouting for turkey. How about you?
This week wasn't much for me. The most I did was I helped about 15 people do their first step to get their hunting license.
That is a good thing.
So
that
helped
is a
them with
good
their
thing.
hunter's education. So that's about all I did. I've been under the weather, so I just didn't get out.
Yeah.
So, well, good. This show is going to be about, as Jason kind of alluded to, he's already practicing up. This is going to be our second show on spring gobblers. Last time we talked about some of the equipment that you need and what you have to do to get started and stuff like that. I think this show is going to be pretty neat. There's going to be a lot of sound effects. We're basically
earplugs.
We're basically going to talk about turkey calls.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So this, you won't hear too much from me because I don't know anything about this stuff. So we're going to leave it to the expert and let you go over all his turkey calls.
All right.
And how they work.
Well, I hope a lot of our viewers, we got like 5 now?
No, I think we're up to, you subscribed,
Oh,
so we're up 6.
Okay. Six people, including myself. But anyway, no, all seriousness, the spring turkey woods is a exciting time of year for a lot of people. It's very interactive. And we talked a little bit on the last episode about, we're reversing nature. Mm-hmm. And so, in nature, the hens always go to the gobbler. And now as a hunter, we're imitating the hen and trying to coax that male bird, that gobbler, into range. So with that, and what makes turkey hunting so exciting, and I do all of my hunting this way. I'm an aggressive hunter. So if I'm in the deer woods, I'm using calls. If I'm squirrel hunting, I'm using calls. And I guess that all started, Bob, back when I was a kid and I started turkey hunting. It was just so much interaction or interacting with nature. And so that brings us to turkey calls. So we're going to talk about turkey calls, the different types. And by all means, I don't have every type that's made or out there. But there's basically several different types. The 2 most common are friction calls, and there's all kinds of different types of friction calls. And then, of course, there's mouth calls and different things like that. So,
what's the most common call? When somebody says, I'm going to go get a turkey call, what is the first thing that pops in people's heads?
Well,
is it the mouth calls?
Most people make the mistake and buy a mouth call first.
Okay.
I think. Because, a mouth call or a diaphragm call is inexpensive compared to other turkey calls. But it's the most difficult to master. So we'll talk about the mouth call.
And there's different kinds. When I was kind of researching that, there's 3.
Oh, you've got all kinds of different cuts, all kinds of different layers.
Okay.
I will say this. A double reed is the easiest to use.
Okay.
All right, and what that means by reeds
I didn't
is
mean to start you off with.
no,
these,
it's okay. But I don't know if but this is a double reed. It's got my dirty fingers. It's got latex on the bottom, and then it's got an orange latex on the top. This is one of my favorite calls. It's made by Woodhaven, and it's the Copperhead.
Okay.
And so if you're going to try mouth calls, and since you made me go there, we'll go there. You want to buy a single or a double reed because they're the easiest to use.
Okay.
The more layers of latex that you have on a call, the more layers, the more difficult it is to blow and control and all that good stuff.
Okay.
So,
well, you can go into the other.
well, we're gonna talk about all the calls, but mouth calls. Then you've got friction calls. And friction calls come in all kinds of sorts. You know, this is a glass pot call, and you're rubbing two surfaces together to create that turkey sound or that cadence. All right.
So that one's actually glass.
It's got a
but
glass
you can
surface.
get it with graphite too.
Yep. They come with
or slate. I mean.
Yep, a slate. All kinds of hybrid type materials.
Okay.
But yeah, you can get all kinds of different materials. A slate call, which I've got one in my vest, it's going to give more of a lower tone. A glass call is a lot louder, higher pitched.
Okay.
That sound will travel further.
Okay.
All right. Then you've got box calls. Again, probably one of the most recognized turkey calls. I think, even if you show this to somebody that doesn't turkey hunt, they're going to know what it is because it's very common. But again, it's a friction call. You're rubbing two surfaces together and creating that sound.
Okay.
And then another friction call that I have here is what's called a push-pull. This is what I started out with, and this is what I recommend a new turkey hunter to start out with because it's easy to master, it's easy to use, and when it gets its name push-pull is, so all I'm doing is pushing.
So it's the same as the others. It's friction.
Yep.
But there's a spring in there that returns it. Huh?
Yep. And then it's called a push-pull because I can push it, or I can pull it.
So is it separate? Is it a different sound?
You can create different sounds with it. I can twist this dowel, or I can get soft on it. So it's a very versatile call, and it's probably the easiest type of call to use because all you're doing is pushing or pulling it.
Okay.
So push-pull. And again, there's all kinds of different friction calls out there. Some of your old timers would take the wing bone from a hen turkey and put them together, and you would suck on that. So you're using wind or air pulled through that to create a turkey call. But that's kind of what you're doing with a diaphragm call as well. But the most common turkey calls are friction calls.
Okay. So for beginners, start with the push pull, and then the next one up would be the box call.
Either a box call or a
Okay.
pot call, something
Pot
like
call.
this. So yeah, they're just your box call, any friction call is going to take some practice to get used to them to make those calls, and I'm going to share some of those techniques with you
Okay.
and our audience tonight. So and then of course there's There's gobble, which is not recommended for spring. That's a great locator type call, but again, that's what every turkey hunter in the spring woods is listening for, is that gobble. So it's not a recommended call in the spring woods, although it can be very effective. All right.
So keep in mind. Remember, in spring you're only looking for bearded turkeys.
That's right.
Okay. So
primarily
the gobbler.
Exactly. So let's talk about. I'm going to talk about my favorite call, and that's a pot call, friction call, pot and peg, slate call. I've always called them a slate call because I think the first ones that ever came out had a piece of slate on them.
Yeah, that's what I've heard them as.
Yeah. So, but this is not a slate call because it's got a glass surface on it. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about them. Number one, what you want to do is you want to use a rough, a sandpaper, and you're going to prep that call. So many people, when you get a new call out of the package, it's not ready to go. You're going to have to do a little bit of work to that call to get it. So you notice that half of my glass is sanded and the other half is not. I do that because when I get it out of my pack and I'm going to go to make some calls, I know exactly where I'm going to place my striker and make those calls. Another thing that you want to do is don't touch with your fingers the surface, because oils from your skin can get on there and cause it not to function properly. All right. Okay. And then this is called a striker. You can get all kinds of different strikers, and those strikers will create a different tone or a different sound.
Are they all made out of wood?
Not all of them, no.
Okay.
Most of them are made out of wood, but you can get some all-weather calls that'll have a plastic type surface to where they'll work in the rain.
Okay.
But yet again, you've got to rough up that surface, because remember, it's a friction call. So if it's slick, smooth, it's not going to sound very well, or you may not be able to get a sound out of it at all. All right. So what I do is I hold the pot call, by my fingertips, and I'm gonna try to hold this up to where everybody can see. But I hold the striker just like I'm gonna write, okay, like a pencil or a pen. But then I'm gonna tilt it away from me. So I'm holding it like a pencil or pen, but then I'm gonna tilt it away. And to learn is I just want to drag it across the surface.
So are you just using the edge?
Just
not the flat part?
Nope.
Just the edge?
I'm using the outer edge of that striker.
Okay.
And I'm going to tilt it up here where everybody can kind of see. And I just want to make sounds, right?
Okay.
And then, once you can make sounds with your call without too much effort, then we're going to try to make turkey sounds, and it's all about cadence. All right. As you know, Bob, we've got chickens and turkeys here on my property here. And they're here for multiple reasons. One for eggs and food, but another is I learn. Mm-hmm. So, these hens and turkeys we've got out here, I listen to them and I pay attention. So once you make sound, then you're going to try to make a turkey sound. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a backwards J, and that's going to be a yelp. So just making a backwards J. Another tip is never lift your striker from the surface. Always keep it in contact. So So I'm not lifting it. It's always, when I drag it back, it doesn't make any noise. It only makes noise when I pull it forward. All right.
Okay.
So that's a yelp. All right. And it's all about cadence. You know. This is a purr. Turkeys do that when they're comfortable, they're feeding, they're relaxed. They'll get that soft yelp, or a tree yelp, some people call it.
So are their hearing really good?
Their hearing is tremendous.
Okay, so how far from that sound right there, being just a slight little yelp there, or what?
Several hundred yards.
Oh, really? Okay.
Several hundred yards.
Okay.
Easy. Yeah. Yep. Several hundred yards. So, yep, a backwards J. Try to get it to where people can see. Speed it up, slow it down. If you hear turkeys, they'll do 3 to 4 to 8 or 10. One tip that I like to share with people is turkeys don't start out loud like. All right, if you notice my calling, it'll start soft, it'll get loud, and then it'll drop off.
That.
And that's what real turkeys do.
Okay.
They start out. So start soft, peak, and then drop off.
Okay.
That's more realistic. All right. So, so that's a pot call. And
Is that the only 2 calls that you can do with that pot call?
No, I can imitate just about every sound. Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll go over the different sounds. A box call, kind of the same. A lot of people, they hold them. They hold them like this. I can't call like that very well, so I like to turn it around because I've got better control this way.
Well, I know when I got mine, the first thing I did was, like you said.
Hey,
but then I noticed when I watched shows and different people doing it, they do it like you did.
I'm not saying, a lot of people call great like that. You can get soft that way, but holding it up like this again, I'm not death gripping this call because that takes away from the sound. I've got my fingertips on the base of it, and I've got light pressure.
Now the sound's actually coming from
the inside,
the sides.
Yep.
Here, so if you did hold it,
yeah, you're gonna
muffle it.
Yeah.
Right?
See the difference?
Yeah. Okay.
Much louder and raspy.
Okay.
All right. And you can cut, cackle, some people they can even gobble with them. They'll put a band around them and shake them. That band's not tight enough.
So is there any preparation you have to do to that?
Absolutely.
Just like you did the other one?
Yep, absolutely. You notice there's chalk on the inside of that. So you lightly sand the surfaces and lightly sand the paddle so it holds chalk, and that's what creates that. Yep. So yes, there's prep to a box call as well.
And that's normal maintenance to it too.
Yep.
So every once in a while you have to re-sand it lightly and then add some more chalk to it.
Yep. The more you call, the slicker it's going to get. The worse the sound's going to get.
And will you notice that?
As
you're hitting the
it'll get squeaky, or it may not it just won't sound right.
Okay.
But yeah. Same way with the push pull. Y'all can see there's chalk, and then there is a little pyramid on the inside there that paddle rubs against, and that's what creates that turkey sound, that cadence.
I'm glad you showed that, because for some reason I was thinking it was
Nope.
the pin that was actually doing it.
Nope. It's just
It's that pyramid on the inside.
Yep. It's the bottom of this and that little pyramid on the inside.
Okay.
And you can put your thumb against that and putt and cackle and do all kinds of crazy things with a push pull as well.
So is there anything that you did with them 3 friction calls? Is there any call or sound that you can't do with them?
With practice, you can pretty much make every turkey sound out there.
Okay. Can you even do how would you do the gobble with the pot call?
Yeah, now, there's some people out there that, I'm sure that can, but you got to remember, this call is to imitate hens, so it's not going to have that deep throaty type, but so yeah, you probably couldn't gobble with this, or I can't anyway.
Okay.
But I'm sure there's somebody out there that probably can, but yeah, you can make, again, we're imitating hen calls. But yeah, all of these calls are capable of making just about every hen call. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's go over and we'll do the mouth call as well. How to use those. There is I don't know if people can see, but there's a bump here on the bottom of that. And that's how you know that's the bottom. You see that bump?
Okay.
That's how you know that's the bottom. That goes against your tongue. So the main thing with a mouth call is you got to get comfortable with it. Put it in your mouth, press it to the roof of your mouth. And again, just like any other call, you just want to make a sound with it. I just want to make a sound with it. Once you consistently make a sound with it, then what you do is, a lot of directions, it'll say, it'll give you things to say, to try to say through the call. For somebody learning, that's a way to get started. But for me, what I do, or when I teach somebody, is just making a sound. Once you can make sound. So what I'm doing is I'm blowing air between my tongue and this diaphragm right here. All right.
And this is shoved up to the roof of your mouth?
Shoved up to the roof of my mouth.
Okay.
And a brand new call, what I tell people is put it in your mouth and kind of chew on it for a while. I mean, you're not literally chewing on it, but you're going to stick it in your mouth. You got to get it broke in. You got to get this latex. So if you notice this latex, it's you can see where my teeth marks are on it, and it's flimsy, and it's kind of taking the shape of my mouth. And again, I'm blowing air between my tongue and the bottom of this diaphragm here. So once you can consistently just make noise, and you're going to aggravate everybody in the world around you, go outside, do it while you're driving to work or into town or up to your favorite hunting spot or whatever. But again, once you can make that sound, then what you're going to do is you're just going to add pressure and take pressure away from your tongue to where you change in that pitch. So now I'm changing the pitch, right? High, low, high, low, high, low by just adding and lowering pressure from my tongue. And then once you can do that pretty reasonably, then you want to get into trying to create that turkey call, that cadence.
So why do you have your hand over your mouth?
It helps change the sound,
Okay.
and for me, it helps support my jaw,
Okay.
and I get a better sound.
Okay.
It's just
Well, I mean, I didn't know if you were directing the call somewhere.
it helps me control the call.
Okay.
I'll just say that.
Okay.
Remember, make sound, change the pressure of your tongue. Once you can do that pretty consistently, then you're going to try to do that cadence. And all I'm doing is add pressure, let pressure off in that cadence like a turkey. If you've got easy gag reflexes, these calls are going to give you a fit.
So that just brings me to something. Do you have to do anything to them calls out of the box?
It depends on, if you've got a small mouth, you can trim the latex, not the latex, but the
outer rim.
The outer diaphragm tape. You can trim that. My recommendation is don't do any trimming. Don't do anything until you can make consistent sounds.
Okay.
They make youth models where they're smaller. If you think you've got to trim it, because here's the thing. This outer band has got to seal in the roof of your mouth. So if you trim it off, you've got less material there to seal.
Okay.
So I'll tell people, leave all that tape on there until you know for sure that it's just too much.
So do you keep that as far to the front of your mouth? You said keep it to the top.
Mm-hmm.
Do you keep it all the way to the front of your mouth?
Yeah, it's as far, this metal horseshoe is hitting
Your
the
front teeth.
not my front teeth, but as
The
far
back of
forward.
your front.
Yep.
This
So-
is up here.
So yes, for me,
Okay.
it is pushed forward in the roof of my mouth to where that hits my teeth.
Okay.
So,
Because it was when I was trying mine, it was gagging me.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually did trim it.
Yeah, you should have probably waited because you wanna get that material.
But I also think it's a three
reed.
A three reed.
Yeah. For a lot of that stuff is a sales gimmick.
Yeah.
They
got me. Hook, line, and sinker.
But again, the more reeds, I will say they're harder to use.
Okay.
You want a 2 reed, a double reed. I prefer like a bat wing cut. That's just the different cuts in the top latex, and it gives you a raspier sound or whatever.
It's creating a vibration.
Yeah.
Is what it's doing. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So those, again, there's a lot of different calls out there, but they're all going to fall underneath of where you're going to be using your mouth either to suck or blow, or some type of friction
Okay.
calls. So, I recommend just picking a call and then try to master it. You know, try to become as good as you possibly can with that particular call.
Which is it's a good piece of advice for beginners like myself.
Absolutely.
Trying to master, that pot call, the box call, the mouth call, and and taking it all out in the woods, I'd probably get frustrated and quit.
Yeah, you want to be able to master one call and sound like a turkey and go out and have fun, and you'll enjoy yourself a whole lot more. And then as you get more experience, then you can try to master those different calls.
Which you have multiple of these calls in your, as we seen last week, in your vest, and you said it was because each one does just a slightly different tune.
Yep.
So I guess the way you change that up is if you're not getting any responses, or you're not getting anything that you expect, you just go to a different call.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that what? Okay.
If I know there's turkeys in that area, if I know there's turkeys in that area and nothing's responding, I'll prep this different striker here, and maybe you all can tell.
I heard a slight difference.
This is it's a deeper,
Yeah.
softer.
Yeah. That one's more high pitch and.
Yep. And then when you change calls completely, that sound's going to totally change. And you want to master a call, but then when you get more aggressive, more experienced, then you can carry way too many calls like I do, and try to get, because believe it or not, you'll find one of those turkeys that won't respond, and then next thing you know, you try a different call and they're gobbling and on their way. And all it takes is one turkey to do that, and then you're like me and you're carrying every call in the world around. So
on that pot call, is there, and now this is the technical side of me coming out, you got about 180 grit sandpaper there. If you went and changed up the way you sanded it,
it's going to mess your call up.
Okay.
So
you always got to go in the same direction.
Yeah, you always sand, I'm sanding left to right, and then I'm pulling my striker against that.
So technically it's hitting them ridges.
Yep.
That's causing that.
Yep.
Ever so slightly of a ridge, but it's causing it to vibrate down that piece of glass. Okay.
Yep. And I think that's where a lot of people mess up, is one, they either don't know that they've got to prep that call, or two, they prep it wrong, and then they're touching it with their fingers and spitting on it and cleaning it or whatever, and that's not what you want to do.
Yeah, I would have never known.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was wondering why. I figured that was because you just did that so much that it caused that. I would have never known that you would have to sand that up like that and create that surface. But once you say it makes sense, right?
Yep.
You're creating a rough surface for that edge of that striker to kind of vibrate through.
Yep, this is a Cody Woodsman glass call, and when it comes new out of the package, it is slick. Well, I can show you right here on this.
Yeah.
Nothing. Now I move up. Nothing.
So that's a good piece of information right there. That perfect example of why you need to
rough it up.
Yeah. So that goes for glass, and then if you had a slate call, you got to do the same thing with the slate calls too.
Yep. Slate, you're going to use you're not going to really use sandpaper. You're going to use like a scuff pad.
Okay.
because you don't want to get real aggressive on that slate because it's a softer material. But yeah, you still got to scratch it up and rough it up. Yeah.
And a key thing here is keeping the scratches going in the same direction, and then you're
pulling the call against
it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. All right.
Leave it to me to get it down to the science.
There you go. Yeah, but that's important stuff. So, again, a million different calls out there, a ton of different surfaces. Pick a call that you like. Pick a call that you want to learn to master. I will say, mouth calls are the most difficult to master. But, pick a call, try to master it. And when I say master it, let's talk about turkey calls. What turkeys are actually saying. So let's do the yelp. So a yelp is that's just turkeys saying, "Here I am," "Hey, how you doing?"
That's a regular conversation.
That's a regular conversation. Yep. And so that really is the only call that you need.
Okay.
Is a yelp. So if you're going to master anything, is the yelp.
So start with the yelp.
So here it is again. Again, start off low, peak, and then drop back off again. All right, that's a yelp.
Okay.
I've harvested more turkeys with a yelp than I have probably anything else. All right.
Okay.
Then you've got a purr. And that's a feeding, a relaxed call. That's a comfort call. A yelp is,
that's more of a conversation.
Yeah, hey, how you doing? I'm over here type of thing. That purr is, hey, I'm feeding, I'm comfortable, I'm relaxed, all that good stuff. And then you've got a cut. Well, let's go with a cluck. A cluck is
So what's that?
And a cluck is a it's an attention getter. Most clucks are in with purrs, so you'll hear. So most time clucks are intertwined in there. And for me, it's kind of an excited, hey, maybe I found some bugs over here, and while I'm eating type of thing. I don't know, but it's
not a fearful excitement.
And those clucks will also be, they can be mixed in with a yelp.
So it's just a different word saying, hey, what's going on?
Yep, probably. But again, a yelp, you want to get a little bit fancier, more realistic. It's you can start out with a cluck or two, fall into a yelp, and then right back into a cluck or two. So now we're, a yelp, we're learning to say words. Now we're putting sentences together when we're starting to mix those calls up, just like a purr. So now, and then you can put all three of them together. So, you know, I'm not sure what I said, but it was a turkey sentence, right? So
Yeah, found some bugs.
yeah, there you go. And then there's the cut. The cut is hens will do that when they get excited. They hear a turkey gobble and they start getting close to that old turkey. They'll get to cutting, and all it is, cutting is a cluck that is done loud and close together. So here's a cluck. With a purr. So cutting is, hey, I'm over here, I'm coming, come get me, whatever, I'm ready to breed, whatever. So this is a cut.
Oh, what's that?
So that cut are clucks that are really loud and close together, like, and they'll mix in a yelp or two in there. And that's a great way to get an old gobbler fired up too, because he knows that hen's fired up, he's going to probably gobble and say something.
So does turkey have warnings just like deer have, where they stomp their feet or they give that wolf?
Yeah. So what a turkey will do is they'll putt. So if you ever see an old turkey come in, he's gonna come in. If he sees you, he's gonna throw that old head up, and he's gonna fold them wings back on his back, and he's gonna turn around and he's gonna putt at you. He's gonna go. Nope, that's not a putt. He's gonna go.
Okay.
And then out there he goes.
So if you hear that, you know he's going to be gone.
Yeah, you know, I mean, this is a cluck. It's kind of hard to do a putt. You don't want to do a putt, but you know, a cluck. You know, you hear that putt, it's and steady walking away from you, or he's going to take off and fly. So a putt is that warning. A cluck is more of a relaxed. But yeah, you don't want to do a putt.
Right. So is that the basic sounds that you need to do?
Basics. Again, all you need to do is yelp. Now you want to get, you know, see my call's starting to get a little screechy, so I need to prep it. So again, a yelp. First turkey I ever harvested was with just yelping.
Okay.
Because I didn't know how to do anything else, right? But just a yelp is all you need. And you can do that with a push-pull.
Okay.
That's all you need. And then, you know, there's the main call is just learn to yelp. So for a beginner out there, pick a call. Learn to yelp. And go hunting.
Okay.
All right. Then if you want to add calls to your weaponry, then you can learn to master some of those other calls. But I'm telling you, probably 98% of the turkeys out there are harvested by just a
simple yelp. Okay.
Yep. Because when I hear that turkey gobble in the morning, which we'll do another episode, because we're at 45 minutes.
Yep.
We'll do another episode on strategy.
Yeah.
What do you do? Okay, I hear a turkey gobble at daybreak. What do I do? So we'll go over we'll go over scenarios.
We'll try to get you all set up to where come April you'll be ready to go out there.
Hopefully confident enough to go out and at least enjoy the spring woods.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Pick a call, learn to yelp, and go hunt.
Get outside.
Yep.
And just enjoy the beautiful weather.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you.
See y'all.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, leave a comment on what you would like to see in future shows.